Hello, everyone. Welcome to Gallery ONYX. Gallery ONYX is a retail fine arts gallery run by an organization called ONYX Fine Arts Collective right here in downtown Seattle. My name is Ernest Thomas. I'm the president of ONYX Fine Arts Collective, and we are a nonprofit organization whose objective is to showcase the artwork of artists of African descent throughout the Pacific Northwest. Today, we are going to highlight 4 of our artists who are hanging in the gallery right now. First, here's Earlene Alston, Ashby Reed, our vice president, and Vincent Keel, one of the fine artists in our midst. So let's start with Mr. Keel. Mr. Keel, tell us about your artwork.
Well, my art is about movement, light, and a lot of energy. So I like to put a lot of those elements into my art. So this piece right here in the center, this is called Teal and Yellow, and it has a African influence with the patterns and things of that nature in it, but it's not a specific place. It's from all over Africa. I wanted to show the textiles from the different places, but you can really feel the energy that I put into the work by the line work and so on. And that echoes from piece to piece. So when you look at this piece right here at the top, you see that African influence with the textile, but you also feel that energy as it flows. And I look at the energy as more of a thought. So with the thoughts, you have a thought and that thought grows bigger and bigger and bigger until you actually come up with patterns like what I have. And that's kind of the basis of what I'm doing. I like to use a lot of light, a lot of luminism, because there's 3 principles to my art. And the first one is color, second one is composition, and the third one is story. So everything I do, I like to build a big story around what I'm doing and why I've done it.
So the piece that I'd like to highlight is called Turbulent Times. It's an 8-foot long, 2 by 8 foot long piece. Turbulent Times, as indicated by an abstraction of what's going on in our country today and across the world in general. The sculptural element being made of copper represents the people. As you can see here, the people are being crushed, beaten, tarnished, the tears and the blood's flowing, but yet in the turbulence of it all, life still exists, life being represented by the copper color. So if you suppress the life here, it's going to show someplace else. Suppress it someplace else, it'll continue to show up, kind of like that tree that sends roots through the rocks, can never get to the end of it. And as Maya Angelou says, and still we rise. Earlene, tell us about your artwork.
Well, this piece is called Essence, and each year I always like to create a piece inspired by nature. And in this case, it's spring. The round piece is made of birchwood, and the inspiration, again, as I said, is nature. But for me, nature is more than just beautiful trees and flowers. It's a way for me to get in touch with my creativity, my spirit. It has sort of intrinsic healing qualities for me. So in this piece, I use a mixed media, which includes oil pastel, chalk pastel, blended with some little bit of watercolor, and probably a few hundred pieces of small clippings of paper pasted to create those little cherry blossoms. And then I blended with other media like acrylic. So the circle represents the cycle of life, an opportunity for new beginnings.
Mr. Reed, what are you doing over here, my brother?
These are a series of about 14 pieces I've done. The first one is a moonscape that I created with grays and darks and blacks and whites. I do it all with a palette knife. I do it all with acrylic paint. I find acrylic paint to be very, very easy to work with and the shade with and to paste with. As you can see, the acrylic is placed over the painting, and the painting is built from the dark to the light or from the light to the dark to create some perspective And the cityscape is something that is created with that palette knife. There's very little detail, there's very little pain to make this happen on a canvas or what do you call a Presto board.
Well, what you just heard from are excerpts from actually the top level of these artists' lives. You know, Vincent, I know, has hundreds of pieces. No doubt Earlene has many, many pieces as well, artwork in their inventory, and so does Mr. Reed, except Mr. Reed sells a lot of his, but that's okay. You know, we're all catching up. But in the gallery right now, we have 27 artists represented, and we'd be happy if you would stop by to visit with us anytime. The gallery is open from Fridays, Saturdays, and Sundays in the Pacific Place Mall from 12 to 6 p.m. Like I said, we are a nonprofit. Go on our website, which is onyxart.org, and take a look at what we're doing, more detailed look, and also make a donation. We're a nonprofit, 501c3. I don't know any 501c3 organization that has enough money. We certainly don't, but we need your help. And thank you very much for listening to us, and looking forward to seeing you in the gallery.